we are awaiting the release of Mahmoud Khalil, the Columbia University grad student and Palestinian activist arrested by ICE more than 3 months ago. A judge today ordered Khalil to be freed on bail. He had been held in a detention facility in Louisiana, away from his wife and away from his newborn son. He's also been the subject of an intense debate over the power of the Trump administration to hold pro-Palestinian demonstrators. Let's go straight to CNN's Gloria Pazmino, who has been following Khalil's case since the very beginning. Gloria, what do we know about what happens next here?
Well, Phil, at this hour, one of Khalil's attorneys who is there with him and down in Louisiana is trying to figure out the logistics of his release, which I'm told could happen at some point later this evening. And it's possible that he might be back in New York City this weekend. Now, as you mentioned, he's being held in a very rural part of Louisiana. So it will take some time just for them simply to get back and forth to the airport after he is officially released. But I want to mention, Phil, that the judge in this case just a few hours ago during the bail hearing called it highly unusual to continue to detain a legal permanent of the United States, who his lawyers have argued is not a danger to the community and was unlikely to flee. In fact, today, Judge Michael Farbiars said that, quote, it is that Khalil, quote, is not a danger to the community, period. Full stop. Now, let's step back a moment, Phil, because Mahmoud Khalil was the first in a string of detentions by the Trump administration's immigration crackdown, which targeted pro-Palestinian protesters on U.S. university campuses. And since that push, which started 3 months ago, many of the students have actually been released, all of them except Khalil. In the meantime, he has missed his graduation, the birth of his son, and he's been kept away from his families and his attorneys. Now, 2 weeks ago, the judge in this case said that he was going to order Khalil's release, but the government appealed that decision, saying that there was an outstanding charge accusing Khalil of lying on his green card application, something that his lawyers have denied. Now, his lawyers renewed their request for the court to issue bail, and that's exactly what happened here today. Khalil will be released. He said that the outstanding matter is a civil matter in immigration court, certainly not a criminal matter, and we are expecting to hear some detail about the conditions for his release, including the surrender of his passport and travel conditions. Here's what his wife, Dr. Noor Abdallah, said upon learning about his release. Quote, "We know this ruling does not begin to address the injustices the Trump administration has brought upon our family and so many others." She also said, "Today we are celebrating Mahmoud coming back to New York to be reunited with our little family and the community that has supported us since that day. He was unjustly taken for speaking out for Palestinian freedom." Phil?
Gloria Pazmino, thanks so much. Let's bring in now Donna Lieberman, Executive Director of the New York ACLU, which is helping represent Mahmoud Khalil. Donna, appreciate your time. Just to start off, what more do we know right now about when a release might happen at this point?
We know he's been ordered released today, and we know that the release is being processed, but we don't know exactly when that will happen.
Before this decision today, or before the order today by the judge, he had been the only prominent pro-Palestinian demonstrator still in ICE custody, at least that I'm aware of. The State Department had claimed he posed a threat to national security. The use of that claim seems to have fallen apart in almost every case at this point. Is that a fair assessment?
That's right. The Trump administration was trying to use this antiquated statute that was little used historically to justify detaining and deporting Mahmoud Khalil and others because they were ostensibly a threat to our foreign policy by virtue of lawful political expression. And the judge unequivocally rejected the government's claim and said that holding him on these grounds was unconstitutional. So today's ruling, last week's ruling and today's ruling combined are a vindication of Khalil's rights. They're a vindication of the First Amendment and our democracy, but the case is not over. We still have to get all the charges dismissed, dumped. These are trumped up charges, literally, figuratively, and we need to make sure that that the Trump administration gets the message, and they should with today's ruling, that you cannot deport people based on lawful political expression. You cannot retaliate against people for exercising First Amendment rights, whether they're citizens or not.
I wanted to ask you about kind of what happens next, because it was striking, the judge today saying, and I'm paraphrasing here, but based on what he had seen, there's at least something to the underlying claim that has been made in his defense, that this was all about just trying to crack down on speech on some level, which was notable, but there is still a case that's not over. He faces charges that he failed to give required information on his green card application, still potentially faces deportation. What's your sense of where that goes?
Well, the team of lawyers is going to fight vigorously to get all the charges dismissed. But this will play out in court in a way that is consistent with our system of justice. Mr. Khalil will be free. He'll be with his community. He'll be with his wife, his new baby, and he will not be subjected to additional irreparable harm as a result of Trump's retaliatory campaign to make him a symbol and to deport him. So the case will go on, and we're hopeful that we will be successful. We're confident because he is right. He has every right to be here. He's a lawful permanent resident. He's got a green card, and he has done nothing wrong to justify the treatment.
We will certainly be watching every step of the way. Donna Lieberman, New York ACLU, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Palestinian activist Mahmoud Khalil has just been ordered released from ICE detention. This decision from a federal judge coming more than 3 months after he was arrested outside his apartment on Columbia University's campus. Khalil expected to be released today. CNN senior legal analyst Elie Honig joins us now. Elie, can you just remind us how we got here and help us understand, why this is happening now?
Sure. So Khalil was arrested back in March under an obscure part of a law called the Immigration and Nationalization Act of 1952. That law says that the Secretary of State can deport a non-citizen if the Secretary of State makes a finding that the person poses a serious threat to American foreign policy. And so invoking that law, Marco Rubio had Mr. Khalil detained. Mr. Khalil then hired attorneys, and he has filed a lawsuit challenging his detention and potential deportation. This is something called a habeas lawsuit. That's in federal court in the District of New Jersey. And as part of that lawsuit, Mr. Khalil has asked to be released while the lawsuit itself played out. And that led to today's ruling by the judge that he is to be released as the lawsuit plays out.
So, Elie Honig, we understand that he has posted bail or is going to be able to be out on bail here. That doesn't mean that this is all resolved, though.
Exactly. So the continuing fight over whether Mr. Khalil can be deported, that will go on. But it's important whether somebody, of course, has bail or is locked up while it goes on. And the significance of the ruling by the judge, and I should mention, I know the judge, I was a former prosecutor at DOJ with him, Judge Farbiage. So there's a couple things that I think we can read into today's ruling. One, the judge made specific findings on the record, and you have to do this anytime you're going to bail someone as a judge, that Mr. Khalil is not a flight risk and that he poses no danger to the community. Judge Farbiage said that on the record. The other thing is, it indicates that Judge Farbiage believes in Khalil's constitutional attack on his detention. Judge Farbiage has said that. He said he believes the law that I mentioned before is unconstitutional because it's too vague and it allows the Secretary of State to discriminate against someone's free speech rights under the First Amendment. So it's a good indicator for Mr. Khalil as this case moves forward.